This is Mindfulness with Richard Clarke. Listen, reflect, and deeply meditate. Welcome. Today, I'm continuing with the basics of mindfulness, and this time we focus on letting go of expectations. We'll explore how expectations create suffering and how to release them. Expectations shape the way we see the world. We carry them into our relationships, careers, health, and even our meditation. When things unfold differently than we imagined, frustration, disappointment, or resentment can arise. Mindfulness meditation offers a way to step back from these expectations and see life as it truly is, unfolding moment by moment beyond our control. By bringing awareness to our expectations, we begin to recognize how they shape our emotions. If we expect a friend to respond in a certain way and they don't, we might feel hurt. If we expect our meditation practice to be calm and clear, but instead find a restless mind, we might feel discouraged. The problem is not that we have desires or preferences, it is our attachment to specific outcome that causes suffering. Our emotions are driven by the difference between what we want and what actually happens. The greater the difference, the more the emotional load. Mindfulness invites us to observe expectations as they arise, rather than getting caught up in them. It teaches us to notice the difference between what is happening and what we wanted to happen, to notice without judgment. Through this practice, we cultivate acceptance and openness. We learn to trust that life unfolds in its own way and that peace is found not in controlling outcomes, but in meeting each moment as it is. A simple way to start letting go of expectations is to bring awareness to the present moment. And when frustration or disappointment arises, pause and ask, what did I expect? Was I holding on to a specific outcome? Shifting attention to what is actually happening without trying to change it creates space for ease and clarity. Over time, we develop the ability to respond with greater flexibility, reducing unneeded suffering. Letting go of expectation does not mean giving up on goals or settling for less. It means engaging fully with life without demanding that it conform to your script. This approach allows for more joy, resilience, and deeper connection with the present moment. With regular mindfulness practice, we begin to appreciate things as they are, rather than resisting what they are not. It is easier to just be happy and in the moment. So here's a guided meditation on letting go of expectations. Find a comfortable position. Let your hands rest gently in your lap, feet on the floor. Close your eyes if comfortable, and take a deep breath in through your nose. And exhale slowly. Allow your body to soften with each breath. Notice the sensations in your body. Feel your breath in and out. Feel the weight of your body on the chair and on the floor. Feel the gentle rise and fall of your chest as you breathe. And let your attention settle into this moment just as it is. Feel yourself becoming still. As you sit in stillness, bring to mind a recent time when you felt frustration or disappointment. What expectation was behind that feeling? What did you want? What actually happened? Notice how the mind holds on to certain outcomes, expectations, hoping for things to be a particular way, and reacting when they're not that way. Now gently say to yourself, I allow things to be as they are. With each breath out, imagine letting go of the tightness around your expectations. Feel the relief of releasing control, even if just for now. I allowed things to be as they are. I allow things to be as they are. Now shift your focus to what is here right now, the warmth of your breath, the sounds around you, the feeling of your body, the feeling of the air on your skin. Notice that this moment is complete, even without meeting a specific expectation. And repeat silently, I open to this moment, and feel a sense of ease settling in as you soften your grip on how things should be and instead accept what is. Dwell on this sense of ease. I open to this moment. I open to this moment. And now bring awareness back to your body, into the room. Wiggle your fingers and toes, and when you're ready, open your eyes and return to the space you're in. And carry this openness with you, allowing life to unfold with greater ease. Thank you for sharing this time and space together. As we move forward, may we meet each moment with openness, letting go of expectations and embracing life as it comes. Keep practicing, keep noticing, and may you find peace in the present moment. So, Tom, how has your meditation been?
Not regular, to be honest. Too much activity. I really like your mindfulness session on, particularly for me, related to, I think, politics and the politics situation in the U.S. So acceptance is a key factor to, I think, put into my mind and my uh, brain. Okay, so it could be better, but I'm glad I was able to get to this one, and I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Very good. And you again, I say, if you look at your suffering and your own emotional turmoil, a lot of it is due to the difference between your expectations and what you
Exactly.
want and what there actually is.
Yeah, very relevant, very very apropos to the current situation. Very much so.
Well, I thought that it's one of the ones that works for me.
Do you put this on your YouTube section? Do
Yes.
you have a YouTube?
Yeah, this will be on the YouTube channel, and I'll send you a link to it when we're
Super.
done. Okay. And then on that same channel, then there are several years worth of these sessions.
Right. Right.
Okay. Barbara Barley.
Yeah. I've been reading this backwards.
No, it's
very
good.
good.
Okay. Yeah, I've been reading that this week. It belonged to Jean, and
Oh.
I had it with me on the day she died. And I was trying to read it to her, but I kept crying.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. But it's a good book. I like
It's a good book, and certainly he is grounded in the same mindfulness that we're
Mhm.
practicing here. So,
And the other thing, I was reading a definition of an atheist, which I pretty much am, is that they feel like they like to be in the present moment.
Hmm.
I'm not sure why that is.
well,
but
good for
That's
them.
interesting. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
interesting. Huh.
I have a question about the memorial service.
Yes?
And can you remind me who this is for?
Okay. This is a woman who was almost a founding member of the UU. And I don't think it's really going to be a memorial service as much as just hanging around, drinking a glass of wine and remembering her. So if you didn't know her, it's sort of probably pointless.
And
I
who is
worked
it?
with,
Who was it actually?
her name is Jean Haley. She was the partner of Paul Bennett, like Paul and Paula. And I worked with her 8 or 9 years ago when her dementia wasn't as bad.
Yes.
She was in their house, and Paul was really suffering. It was too hard for him. So I was the one who recommended that she get put in a plate and a asila as they're called here. So anyway, so she has been hanging on for years with this dementia, getting perfect, worse all the time. And yeah.
And we got to know her before the dementia kind of had taken over, and got to see, really what an intelligent and lively woman she was.
Right. And when was approximately the last time she was able to come to the services?
7, 8 years ago.
Okay. All right. Then I really don't know her then.
Right.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, then now I have to ask you, Carol, how's your meditation been?
Well, I'm pleased that I've really settled into this pre-sleep, turning out the light in the living room and sitting for some minutes. And it's been good. I'm frustrated that I don't get deep right away, but I really think it's a habit now, so that's a good thing.
That's very good, because you
Yeah.
have moved that into your regular habit, and
Yeah.
that's one of the things that works in the long term.
Well, let's hope it works someday after 30 some years of doing this.
Well, we just heard about the expectations.
That's right.
With the advice to let things be as it is,
Right.
and just be happy as it is. That's our job at this part of our life anyway, to be happy.
We should pay better.
It pays in the thing that matters.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, now we have a little longer video on Taoism, the power of letting go. And it's interesting that the channel that this is on is supported by some European government. Imagine a government supporting making of videos on Taoism.
Very, very good.
Yeah.
Okay. Look forward to it.
Mastery of the world is achieved by letting things take their natural course. You cannot master the world by changing the natural way. Lao Tzu. Our civilization is in a state of ongoing strivings, in which control seems to be the highest virtue. We don't have to look far to observe this. In the workplace, for example, employees are more and more controlled and supervised. Especially now we have the technology to do so. And governments put more effort into tracking their citizens, whether it's through camera supervision or the proposal of a so-called social credit system. Ironically, the latter is a Chinese invention that goes utterly against a philosophy that emerged from the same soil: Taoism. As opposed to a control-obsessed society, Taoism revolves around letting go and going with the flow. At first glance, the act of letting go may seem a form of weakness, but according to the Taoists, by a correct understanding of how the universe works, we can approach life more intelligently, more efficiently, and go with the flow, rather than swimming against it. Therefore, the power of letting go is a form of strength that's based on sophistication rather than force. The Tao Te Ching, the main Taoist scripture, was written by a mysterious sage named Lao Tzu. There are countless ways in which we can interpret this text. One way is to see it as a guide for a ruler. What characterizes the passages of the Tao Te Ching regarding governance is that Lao Tzu puts emphasis on ruling by not ruling, as he compared governing a country with frying a small fish. Too much poking spoils the meat. He argued that when a ruler tightens his grip on the people, all kinds of negative side effects will occur. We see that people become distrustful towards one another when the government is too patronizing. And when it's too intrusive, people become rebellious. But when a leader is unobtrusive and acts with integrity, then people will become whole, as they are granted the space to naturally evolve. It's clear that Lao Tzu favors a passive form of governance, which doesn't just apply to ruling a state, but also to the governance of ourselves. Because letting things go is the key to let nature do the work, which applies to any level. In this video, I would like to show you several ways in which Taoism shows us the power of letting go. The first one is the art of non-doing. The Taoist concept of Wu Wei can be explained as effortless action, or the so-called flow state, but also as non-doing, or knowing when to act and when not to. When we take a critical look at ourselves, we see that the need for control prevails in many areas of life. We feel the need to control our pets, our children, our gardens, our video games, in some cases our partners, and first and foremost, our future. Now, control isn't always a bad thing. In order to survive, we need to exert our influence on the environment to some extent. Especially self-control can lead us in a positive direction. Without control, human civilization would probably never have occurred. But too much of it doesn't get us anywhere. It seems that we systematically underrate the natural influences that lie at the basis of our daily lives. We can't control everything, and many things happen when we stop controlling them. Let's take a tree, for example. We can plant it, we can water it, we can add some fertilizer and make sure it's exposed to enough sunlight. But any more intervention would only damage the process, because we interrupt nature from doing its job. Another example is attraction. The first step to attracting someone is simply showing ourselves, so that the person we want to attract knows that we exist. Then, attraction either happens or not. When attraction is there, one can easily blow it by taking too much action. Attraction is a natural phenomenon that is beyond our control. It absolutely cannot be enforced. Instead, it has to grow or erupt spontaneously. And there's only one way to let the seed of attraction grow into a beautiful tree, which is not intervening, aside from the occasional watering. Silence makes the heart grow fonder. That's why letting go is vital in relationships, because by letting go, we give space to the forces of the universe to unfold. After a fight, for example, anger naturally erodes. And when trust is breached, one cannot enforce restoration. It has to grow back naturally. So letting go makes the difference between controlling and allowing. The second one is embracing change. The Taoists were very aware that life unfolds in a constant movement between opposites, between high and low, light and dark, yin and yang. There isn't much we can do about it, and the most efficient way of living is simply moving along with the waves of existence. The flow of life and its transformations are inevitable, yet we see so many people cling to their circumstances. In the metaphor of the river stream, they hold on tightly to a branch or a rock, afraid to let go, because they want complete control over their position. They simply don't trust the universe. And the consequence of this is a rigid lifestyle. They see life passing them by, including many opportunities for positive change, and they miss out on a lot of fun. As Lao Tzu wrote in the Tao Te Ching, and I quote, "The living are soft and yielding, the dead are rigid and stiff. Living plants are flexible and tender, the dead are brittle and dry." End quote. There are also those who swim against the stream. They are the biggest energy wasters of them all. Perhaps they see honor and virtue in taking an extremely non-agreeable stance in life, but exercising a constant resistance to how the universe unfolds isn't a very efficient way to live, and most likely makes one worn out and miserable. This non-acceptance of how things are is also the cause of people fighting against themselves. Because of certain societal expectations, people engage in a battle against their inherent nature. Instead of flowing along with the attributes that nature has given them, we could say, follow your strength, instead of trying to repair your weakness. Embracing change also applies to uselessness and usefulness. Taoist philosopher Zhuangzi observed that usefulness depends on the circumstances, as he told about a merchant that tried to sell shirts to a tribe whose members were covered in tattoos and always showed them off by walking around shirtless. To them, shirts are useless, but to us, at least most of us, they aren't useless at all. Usefulness and uselessness are relative and are not to be treated with rigidity. When you live in New York, for example, having a car is less useful than when you live somewhere in the countryside where the next village is 50 kilometers away. So we ought to be willing to let go of things that are useless in one situation and adopt what's useful instead. That's how we make change an ally and not an enemy. The third one is not focusing on outcomes. Comparable to the Stoics, the Taoists observed that the focus on future outcomes has a negative effect on us. Focusing too much on the future makes us anxious. Our present endeavors become fueled by a desire for an uncontrollable result. And the more we crave that, the less we value the only thing we have, which is the present moment. Zhuangzi goes one step further by telling us that the more we value something external, the worse we perform in the present. He tells us about an archer that loses his ability to shoot when he focuses too much on the prize. I quote, "He who is contending for a piece of earthenware puts forth all his skill. If the prize be a buckle of brass, he shoots timorously. If it be for an article of gold, he shoots as if he were blind. The skill of the archer is the same in all the cases, but in the two latter cases, he is under the influence of solicitude and looks on the external prize as most important. All who attach importance to what is external show stupidity in themselves." End quote. Now, this doesn't mean that the people that want external things are stupid. It means that when our minds are in the future, we paralyze ourselves in the present. This principle lies at the basis of the flow state that we see in activities like sports, art, and dancing. When we experience this flow state, we're so immersed in the task at hand that we completely forget about the future. It's like the dance dances itself. The last one for now is letting go of excess. In a society in which status is an ultimate concern, everyone wants to be at the top. Not because it's necessarily the best place to be, but because we have collectively decided that high status is preferable and low status is horrible. This also comes with a collective pursuit of the former and a collective aversion to the latter. But the tallest trees catch the most wind. And when we are at the top, it takes a tremendous amount of effort to stay there, because everyone wants to take your position. It's stressful compared to the lower regions, in which one lives more privately with less competition, less enemies, and in general, less effort. The other extreme, however, is a place of deprivation. If we deliberately seek the absolute bottom, we become ascetics. Although in a different way, there's still a strong attachment, the attachment to deprivation. The question we can ask ourselves is, what do we truly need? Zhuangzi observed that a bird that nests in the forest wants no more than one branch, and that a mouse that drinks from the pond drinks no more than a belly full. So if we aim for what we need and let go of excess, we prevent possessions from becoming our prison cell, which allows us to travel light. Epicurus observed as well that the basic necessities for life are easy to come by, and that living moderately is the key to happiness. It's a path that's easy and sustainable. As Lao Tzu wrote, those who use moderation are already on the path to the Tao. End quote. When we stop striving, we give nature space to unfold. In trusting the universe and accepting that it's ever-changing lies the opportunity to become loose and supple, instead of rigid and brittle. The power of letting go means that we float along the stream without grasping for rocks and branches, and that we cut loose that weight so we can navigate through life with minimal effort. Thank you for watching.
All right. And now we're going to spend a few minutes and meditate within ourselves. Mindfulness is present moment awareness. Paying attention on purpose in the present moment non-judgmentally. Fully receive whatever is experienced. Then let it go.
Well, I lost the sound at the, is it over, Richard?
Hmm?
Okay, all right. We're in meditation.
Right. And let us close with a chant. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om, peace, peace, peace. All right, I feel peaceful after that meditation. And thank you all for joining together today. And we'll see you next week. Namaste.